Hi everyone, it's Lisa. I want to share with you a free project from Marcus Fabrics. It is called Holidays and Beyond Quilt. It's a 87.5 by 87.5 square quilt. It features winter botanical fabric by Berringer. She has some beautiful fabric lines. I will put a link to the project below. It's a free project offered through Hancock's of Paducah, and it might be on the Marcus Fabrics website as well. My objective today is first and foremost to share with you this beautiful pattern, show you a brilliant artifice that they've done to make this quilt look like it's on point. And then the second thing that I want to do is to show you how I go through a pattern or think about creating a block so that I can eliminate seams, save time, use my rulers, and save fabric. And I'm just going to show you a little bit of my pre-engineering, re-engineering on this particular quilt. I will make it. I don't have these fabrics, but by using two pairs of complementary neutrals in this particular pattern, it is a dark tan and a light cream, and then coupling it with other darker colors and lighter low volume prints creates really quite a cute block and a beautiful quilt. So let's dig into the quilt and look at these two blocks a little bit more closely. This quilt outside of the borders contains two blocks. It contains a ribbon block. I have it outlined in blue for you, and it contains a 25 patch, which is outlined in red. Now here's the clever artifice. This block just goes all the way around each of these, so it's not set on point, it's just set in a straight line, although it happens to be such that the block creates the on-point dynamic, which I think is really pretty clever. I've not seen that before. Maybe you have, but I was really quite intrigued by it and wanted to share that with you. So all you have to do is make lots and lots of two different blocks to get this quilt to be your own. Let's look a little more carefully at the construction of this 25 patch ribbon block. It is comprised of the following. There are green and cream ribbon blocks and red and cream ribbon blocks, and you can see that they are there are 8 of these blocks, and then in the middle there's a pinwheel, which is not that block. It happens to be just a regular pinwheel. These ribbon blocks are basically folded corners, and they are not mirrored. They're all of them are from top left to the bottom right. This is a 1.5 inch wide by 2.5 inch tall strip with a 1.5 inch folded corner over top of it. And I'm going to tell you how I'm going to construct that without doing a lot of waste. The other aspects of this block are obviously the pinwheel, and I'm going to do that using the 8 at a time method. There are 100 half square triangles in these pinwheels. 50 of them are green and cream. 50 of them are red and cream, and I'm going to use the 8 at a time method and use 6-inch squares, which is what that computes out to. And I'll also put a link to my handy dandy spreadsheet that would allow you to use the Magic 8 method by just inputting some numbers. So I hope that you'll find that useful. The other thing that I plan to do on the pinwheels is when I trim half square triangles, I do them while they're closed and using a triangle or a square up trimmer that has lines that are perpendicular to the diagonal. And you need a line. Here's the diagonal right here. You need a line that's perpendicular to that diagonal in order to trim this closed with the seams being lined up where you need to. Of course, you're doing it on the opposite end of this, or the reverse end of this block. And I find that to be a huge time saver. If you point the corner somewhere between the imaginary clock of between 2 and 3, you can easily make the cut. The other aspect of this block is that it has 3 2.5-inch squares here. Well, I am going to get rid of those and do a 2.5 by 6.5-inch rectangle, and I'm going to do that on both of these sides. That's going to eliminate a lot of seaming and help you with getting this block flat on the inside. The next thing that I'm going to do, as you can see these blocks here, I am going to make a strip set of dark, light, dark, and then I'm going to subcut them with my stripology ruler using the 2.5-inch marks. So you're always cutting based on your individual block width, which is 2.5 inches in this case. So that will give me both this unit, and that's a very quick way to do it. And the rest of it, you're just going to have to cut 2.5-inch blocks. I use my stripology ruler to make those cuts. It helps that work out very quickly. Now I'd like to look more closely at the ribbon unit. A clipped corner, which I'm sure you know, and I won't belabor it, is basically you're taking a solid color fabric, and then whichever way your pattern requires. Sometimes they're left to right, sometimes they go the opposite way, and you just need to pay attention. This is top left to bottom right, and I prefer not to have the waist by taking a 1.5-inch square and then wasting, part of it. So what I plan to do is use my folded corner clipper. If you don't have one, it's the best $15, $20 you will ever spend. I use it all of the time. This will help me have no waste on clipping these corners out of the colored fabric. So look at this gray here. I'm going to do something even further. I'm going to take a 1.5-inch strip of fabric. I can calculate the rectangle that I need so that I just place my folded corner clipper once on the left, align once, cut once, and I've got 2 pieces. And if you stacked fabric, you will have, remember, it will need to be right sides up because you're not looking for mirrored units. But if you do need mirrored units, do right sides together or wrong sides together, and just be mindful about which way your cuts are going for the colors that you need. And so I'm basically going to do that. I want to tell you how the math is involved to calculate for a square. The square, 1.5-inch square, is your strip width, which is 1.5 inches, and you're going to add 3/4 of an inch to it to get a 2.25-inch wide unit. Now, where does this 0.75 come from? On a folded corner clipper, this flat edge is 3/8 of an inch wide. So you need one that's 3/8 of an inch wide here, another that's 3/8 of an inch wide here, and then of course that's the perpendicular. So that's where the 0.75 comes from. So if you write that down and be mindful of it, you can save yourself quite a bit of time. I also use the rectangle method in cutting split triangles, because that too saves quite a bit of time. Cut once and you can have multiple pieces, and on split rectangles I'm cutting 4 at a time, so I can get 8 or 4 pairs in very quick time. So that's a little trick. I don't see anybody doing that, but I'm sharing that with you today, and I hope you find it helpful. So I also have a method, which I won't go in, but when I was doing this video initially, I said, oh, well, there's got to be a way to do this unit without any waste. And there is, and I plan on using it for this quilt when I do it, but that's too complicated to talk about here. So I'll just kind of, I'll leave that be. So that's how I would make this particular unit. And I've already talked about how I would make the pinwheel, and I have already talked about how I will save some seams here. And again, that's the ribbon unit block, and the other block, which is this beautiful 25 patch. Nothing to see here other than I'm going to use my 8 at a time half square triangle measures for making these half square triangles, and I will also strip piece these. I'll make strip piece units that are light, dark, solid, print solid, and print solid, print, and you need twice as many of these as you do the ones in the middle. And I will just caution you that when you're making these strip units, do check your seam allowance to make sure for the fabric and the thread that you've chosen, when you sew somewhere between 1/4 of an inch and a scant 1/4 of an inch, that you get the block size that you want. So always make a test block, test all of your theories and your construction methods, and make sure that you have a solid understanding so that you don't cut everything and then realize you've done something incorrectly. And that's it for today. I hope you found something useful in today's presentation, and I hope that you will take a look at this beautiful, beautiful quilt and give it a try. Thanks for watching.